Welcome back to the Sober Sofa. My name is Shanti Patty Owen. I am your host for this channel, where we discuss all topics related to addiction and sobriety. I was a big model back in the 80s, and then I was an actress, and I got married, and then I was a legal secretary. I've had quite an extensive career, but what I've been doing since 2016 is I am a sober coach and a sober companion. I have been sober off of various forms of addiction since 2012. Once that's successful and they know that they can get the money from you, they'll ask you for larger and larger sums. There are seniors who have lost their entire retirement money. We're talking about $500,000 to $2 million. I am a sex addict, a love addict, an alcoholic, a compulsive gambler, and a debtor. The subject of today's video is romance scams. Now you might wonder, how is this related to addiction? Because these scammers target love addicts. Whether you are a diagnosed love addict or not, they know, they can smell it. What they look for are vulnerable people, lonely people, often people with low self-esteem, and where this scamming is increasing is in the senior population, often with widows and widowers. Ooh, this gets my blood boiling. Nobody wants to be scammed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you're in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, your ability to replace that money that was stolen from you is practically nil. And that is why I am talking about this, because it's also, thank goodness, in the news. It's been in various documentaries. You can go online and check out romance scams to protect yourself. So here's how these romance scammers work. First of all, they do most of their business on online dating platforms. It can also be social media platforms, and they catfish you. So a catfish is somebody who presents themselves as somebody else. They usually steal the name and the identity of somebody else online, oftentimes an influencer, because an influencer has several photos and videos of themselves. So they start by catfishing you, by presenting themselves as someone they're not. They do something which love addicts are very susceptible to, is they love bomb you. They just compliment you day and night. And that is another thing. They will often interact with you online several times a day. Now, I'll get into later on about phone calls and video chats with them, which are very rare. But let me get back into the chatting, the texting. So they will love bomb you. You will start to really feel warm and fuzzy towards them. And they will eventually present some kind of a sob story, either that they're in an abusive relationship, which is one reason they can't talk on the phone or they can't video chat. We'll talk more about that again. They are in a war zone. They work offshore. They work for the government. They work for the military. There are many reasons they can't speak to you. And this is the way that they keep connected with you electronically. And they'll love bomb you day and night. And they'll do this for the longest time. And eventually, they will tell you some horrific sob story and how they need money from you. Initially, they won't ask you for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they might ask you for $2,000 to $5,000 for something, and they will present that their bank account has been closed because they work for the government and they had to hide and change their name. They'll give you every excuse in the book to have you send them a few $1,000s. Maybe it's not going to break your bank. Once that's successful and they know that they can get the money from you, they won't do it right away, but within a few weeks or a few months, they'll ask you for larger and larger sums. Oh God, these stories really break my heart. There are seniors who have lost their entire retirement money. We're talking about $500,000 to $2 million. I know it seems incredulous that this could possibly happen, but it's happening over and over again. And the reason it's so hard to catch them is because the victim has so much shame about what has happened that they don't tell anybody. Here are some of the red flags that you can look for to protect yourself. So most of the time, these catfishers, these romance scammers will live abroad. That is a big red flag. So if they're not living in your neighborhood, you're likely not going to meet them. Living abroad, just Pasadena on that person, okay? So the other big red flag is that they have a secretive lifestyle. Like I had said earlier, they're in the military, they work for the FBI, they work on an offshore oil rig outside of Norway or something, and it's really hard to gain access to video camera, phone, terrible reception, that kind of stuff. The other red flag is the person is usually extremely good looking. Now, I know we all want to think that we could garner the attention from somebody incredibly good looking. But if you're in your 70s and this person is in their 30s, really buff, good looking, the likelihood is pretty slim that they're going to be interested in you. And I've had arguments with people in my life about this, but this is how these scammers work. Well, here's what you can do with those beautiful pictures they send you. There's something called a reverse search where you could send the photograph online and do a reverse search. And that will usually show you how many pseudonames, aliases they have. And sometimes they'll even give you the real person because they're often a public figure, an influencer, maybe not a famous person, but somebody that is known. Another way to protect yourself from these romance scammers is check their history. How long have they been on that dating app? Usually these scammers have only been on for a couple of months because they jump off quickly once they've catfished you. And by the way, that is something never, ever, ever to do. Never leave the dating app. They're going to say something like, "You're the one. I don't need to look anymore. Let's get off this dating app. Let's just talk on the phone or on Google Chat. I don't need to deal with anybody else. You're the one for me." Oh, a love addict's dream. Another thing you can do to avoid being catfished and romance scammed is never, ever give money to anybody that you meet on a dating app, because there is no reason when you're dating somebody to give them money. You're not in a long-term relationship. You're not living with them. I don't care if it's $10. Once they know that you're willing to give them money, that's how it all gets started. So never, ever, ever give money to somebody that you've met on a dating app. Now, let's say this romance scammer has gotten through to you and you realize after several months that you're being scammed. There are several things you can do. First of all, get in touch with the dating app, dating platform, and give them the person's information, because you're not the first one that they've tried to scam. So you're going to be doing a service to everyone. You can also get in touch with the FBI because these people work internationally. You can reach the FBI at ic3.gov. You can also contact the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. These institutions are very, very much interested in shutting down these scams because these romance scammers have been acquiring billions of dollars. And where they're getting most of these dollars are from seniors. So if you are a child or a grandchild of a senior, do your best to ask your senior if you can have power of attorney so that you can have access to their bank accounts. Educate them. Please educate them on these romance scams. Go online and show them various videos of people who've been scammed. The videos that I've watched, so heartbreaking, where it makes sense why they thought this person really loved them. And then you see over time, and the money is the key, the moment they ask you for money, go running for the hills. So as their child, as their grandchild, you can help your senior navigate these waters, because seniors don't have the education online that younger people do. And often they've been married for 40, 50 years. They're not even used to dating. So you will help them enormously. And like all addictions, shame is what keeps us in the shadows. So please, I know it's easy for me to say, don't feel ashamed that this has happened to you, especially that if you've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the shame will keep you sick. So if you would like to reach me privately, you can absolutely do that. Please also leave something in the chat so other people can benefit from your horrible experience or your questions that you have around this. But you can always reach me at sobersofa@gmail.com. You can reach out, you can go online also and look for various 12-step programs regarding love addiction, sex and love addiction, because we are more vulnerable. And I'm in that category. I'm a love addict. And I think it's only because my sex addict is a little more savvy than my love addict. I've been able to avoid these catfishes. I was actually just catfished last week. Oh my God, I just realized this. It wasn't a dating app because I'm not on them, but it was through Instagram. It was a famous actor. Now, I was an actress and a model. So, part of me goes, oh, well, maybe they know who I am. No. The moment I accepted their invitation, the first thing they said was, hey, beautiful, would love to chat with you. And I'm like, this guy is such a famous actor. There's no way in hell. So then I blocked him. So it happens. It can happen to anyone. Please keep yourself safe. Keep your loved ones safe. And come back to the Sober Sofa again and again for very valuable tips. I so look forward to seeing you this week, next week, and every week. Thank you again for subscribing. So appreciate that. Hitting those bell notifications and the thumbs up to my videos, and forward them to anybody that you think would benefit from these life-saving tips. Thank you so much. I will see you back at the Sober Sofa next week.